Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode of this Rupee cast featuring Dawn of War 2 Retribution. I'm here with our first cast this week. Sorry it took me a few days. If you weren't present this weekend, we had our first attempt at GameReplays.org's Defeat Our Champion series, which kind of had a little monkey wrench thrown in there. Steam servers went down for a few hours, delayed everything, and by then a lot of our players had dispersed, and our champion Tex, of course a family man, had some other things to tend to, so he couldn't stick around for long. There are a few games up at my own channel, that's just own.tv/Red-Rupee. I didn't bring them over here yet. I figured I'll do that when we get a few more games under our belt as far as that series goes. Anyways, also keep in mind Cursed is doing another community game night over on Game Replays. I'll put up the link to that thread. Community game nights, just happy little nights where everybody gets together and just does some kind of random games. No big deal, just casual stuff. But check it out. We always hop on to the Project Learn to Play chat on the Steam group. So join up the Steam group, hop in the chat on Saturday. Whenever that starts, I'll double check those times. Anyways, we're over here on Outer Reaches once again. We got a nice one-on-one game here for you. So let's go ahead and take a look at our players. On the blue side, we've got Grunk as our Eldar Farseer. And on the red team, we've got Mr. Dark Riku as our Space Marine Force Commander. So let's get this game on the road, see how this goes. Outer Reaches, of course, kind of a long, drawn-out map similar to Green Tooth Jungle, in the fact that, like, you have both of the enemy bases right on either side, and then you have the map stretching way out into the distance, way out in front of you. So, with Space Marine versus Eldar, I feel like this can be particularly hazardous, because as you have to go farther out on the map, it's very easy for the Eldar to just come up this middle here and get these Banshees in your retreat path. So you really have to be careful when you're far out here and your tags start getting low or something like that. Because if the Banshees aren't in the battle, you know they're going to be sitting right in your retreat path. And with the Farseer being able to cloak units and probably bring in an Autarch on the field later, considering that Banshees, of course, have been brought, you have to be very careful with their extreme speed capabilities. Anyways, let's take a look at what's being built here. We got Grunk bringing some Banshees onto the field and popping a node and 2 generators. Pretty typical for Eldar. And Dark Riku bringing on a second scout squad, which you pretty much need against Eldar in a one-on-one game. You really need that added map control against that quick Eldar army. So anyways, we can see Banshees on the field now. Look like they're going to get ready to charge in against these tactical Marines. But the Force Commander, rather, had a little something to say about that. Banshees spotted him and turned tail right away. Meanwhile, Farseer forcing off some scouts, not really making them retreat. They, of course, quick enough to disengage and stay on the map. And looking like an excellent start here for Dark Riku, forcing off both of Grunk's starting squads, and now just having to deal with that Farseer running around on the map, decapping some things over here. So we can see that Dark Riku's pretty much getting this nice little central resource belt here in the center, grabbing the 2 powers and that central wreck that's always contested throughout the game. Meanwhile, Farseer is doing her best to kind of harass those scouts, and now in the face of the Force Commander, falling back as best she can. Grunk getting some Rangers to assist with those Banshees. Normally you see Shuriken first, but maybe with Rangers we'll see that sort of 1-1-1 build that everybody talks about. That, of course, whenever you see someone refer to the Eldar 1-1-1-1 build, that means getting one of everything, you know, in this tier 1 build. Farseer getting knocked down very low by that Force Commander. 7 HP and escaping around that corner. Wow. And turning back around, not hesitating to turn around and hop back in to support these Guardians. So Force Commander taking out a couple of Guardians, just rolling around like a boss, tearing through some Eldar on his own, buying some time for his troops to take some more map and do some damage to Grunk's power farm. Looks like he hasn't decided to buy himself some flamers yet. Has the power for it, but maybe holding out for something else at this point. Rangers getting a shot off, and those attacks look like they're going to try to get around this corner and escape to a point where they can retreat without going through those Banshees. Really, a kinetic shot right there would have been perfect. Would have knocked those attacks out and prevented them from getting around this corner. Never underestimate the uses for that kinetic shot. It's almost always useful. And here comes Dark Riku's Assault Marines, now rolling around with that Force Commander. That's 3 beefy Marines and 1 even beefier melee hero. So they're, of course, a force to be reckoned with when they're rolling around together like that. So they're going to try to come up behind these Rangers right now. Grunk spots it and knows he needs to move those out. Doesn't want those assaults jumping on them right now. You can see Rangers getting their Pathfinder gear, which will allow them to cloak and throw down their hollow field if necessary. Nice looking special attack from that Farseer, knocking all those Assault Marines all over the place. You can see Guide being cast on herself to give her some extra damage. And Assault Marines jumping right on top of these Guardians. Farseer getting very low here. Or sorry, that wasn't the Farseer's health bar. That was the gen right there. So, oh no, that is not where those Banshees wanted to be right there. And they're in a bit of a tough predicament right now. They managed to sneak out of there. Everything was kind of got choked right between this little stuff right here, and that probably saved those Banshees a little bit. But I really didn't want those to go up and engage those shotgun scouts, especially with the Assault Marines behind them. Meanwhile, the Assault Marines have just been tanking everything through these through this long engagement right here by Grunk's power farm, and finally deciding to fall back, but still with all 3 models despite taking all that. Oh, I spoke too soon. A nice looking grenade goes down by Grunk and takes out one of those Assault Marine models. And now we're seeing the final parts of that build I was talking about. That's one of each. That's the Shuriken, the Rangers, the Howling Banshees, and the Guardians all on the field. 4 completely different threats to deal with for Dark Riku right now. If microed correctly, it can be quite a difficult thing to counter. Force Commander dropping a battle cry and getting a special attack on those Banshees to protect himself as he escapes that gauntlet of melee. Meanwhile, Scouts hanging out at the bottom. You can see Dark Riku has 2 squads of Scouts, one of them designated pretty much just for capping right here. Didn't even bother to reinforce that extra member. And then the other kind of a battle support squad here with the Sergeant offering the grenade and, of course, the shotguns protecting his tactical Marines from those Banshees. So, meanwhile, we can see both commanders have opted for their kind of regen stay-on-the-field armors. Of course, with the Fortune armor, you kind of have to keep in mind, unlike the Rune armor, you really have to kind of choose which spells that you can be casting during which engagements. Because without that extra mana, you really don't have the energy to drop Fortune, Guide, and your fleet of foot during every engagement. So just something to keep in mind between those 2 armors. Assault Marines jumping in on that Shuriken cannon. Meanwhile, Scouts and the Force Commander engaging these Banshees right now. And having a little bit of a hero duel here between the Farseer and the Force Commander. Dark Riku heading into Tier 2. Looks like Grunk's not going to be too far behind depending on how much he has to reinforce after this battle right here. A nice looking kinetic shot, knocking those Assault Marines down, buying a little bit of time for that Shuriken cannon. But those assaults aren't going to be able to survive there in the face of those Banshees and the Farseer. One of them goes down. Oh, and a nice looking explosive shot, knocking Banshees and Guardians all over the place. Grenade going down. Looks like that was a little late since they got knocked over. And Banshees now moving in on the Scouts and Tacs on this side of the map. Fleet of Foot being triggered there, negating some of that range damage and getting those Banshees in nice and quick, forcing off those last two squads of Dark Riku.
The skeins of fate are tangled. Ever alert.
So going into Tier 2 for both players, Dark Riku going to be hitting that a little ahead of Grunk right here.
Ever alert.
And it'll be interesting to see what Dark Riku purchases first here going into Tier 2.
We can hear you.
Meanwhile, Banshee's hacking up this central power cap and going to be able to take that out and capture that for themselves. Meanwhile, Shuriken trying to get set up, but those scouts managed to engage it in melee and save those attacks from getting suppressed. That was really perfect timing. Another half a second later, and they would have just gotten shredded at point blank by that setup squad. So we can see leaders being called onto both squads. Farseer has the singing spear queued up, which will give Grunk 2 sources of heavy melee, which will really be a dangerous situation for Dark Riku.
Space Marines have targeted one of our structures.
And now that Force Commander is just going to go ahead and try to hack away at this power node right now and maybe get a decap. You can see Dark Riku just taking the whole top of the map back right now. Meanwhile, Assault Space Marines engaging this Farseer. Looks like she's got Fortune on her right now because she's taking next to no damage. Just buying some time for those Banshees to come in and bring that Exarch in to deal with these Assault Space Marines. So good play there by Grunk. And that's what I was telling you. He could have chosen to use Guide right there instead of Fortune. But Fortune was what he needed. He didn't need to do damage. He just needed to buy the time for that Farseer to stay on there in that engagement against the Assault Marines while the Banshees got into position. Anyways, the Shuriken gets set up this time. No scouts there causing any damage. And looks like Rangers taking some pot shots at everything all over the place. Banshee's getting engaged with these Assault Space Marines. Oh, and an Altark drop coming in on those scouts. They need to move right now. Oh, one grenade lands right on top of them. Takes out one of the models, it looks like, or actually two of the models. And then a leap right there onto the Banshees. And oh no, these attacks are in a very dangerous position. Looks like the Force Commander was trying to get off a special attack there and protect those attacks. But oh no, the Sergeant goes down. And the rest of the squad just instantly brought down to about half HP right there. Altark still pursuing into Dark Riku's base, getting a little brazen there. I think Grunk was just not paying attention and didn't quite pull her back in time. So again, we're seeing everything just kind of get put right back into Grunk's hands right here as he reclaims the map for himself. Once again, popping that power cap and trying to take this central power node here. And Dark Riku, in the meantime, pushing into Tier 3 and bringing his army out all in one big force here. You can see him leaving those capping scouts back there to deal with that. Had to bring these tacks out a little beat up, but calling the Sergeant back onto the field right now. And we'll have to see what Dark Riku brings onto the field. Of course, once he hits Tier 3, Grunk sitting on some pretty solid resource right now. I'm not sure what he intends to buy right here.
Caution has its place as well. The Space Marines are taking one of our resource points.
Oh, and I'm not sure what Dark Riku's doing right here, sending these scouts up ahead a little bit. Two models go down. Oh man, and a shot from the Rangers. Really having to pull those out. A bit of a mistake right there. Could have left those scouts in a little bit longer if he had left those behind. And now he has nothing to knock over these Banshees and Altark. Oh, we can see a merciless strike there, but not quite hitting anything. Only knocked over the Altark. And wow, there goes the Sarge on those Assault Marines. Dark Riku's going to have to go ahead and get the heck out of there. And this is actually one of the most difficult things to deal with, I feel, if you ask me, is this little trio right here. The Altark, the Farseer, and those Howling Banshees. The Altark, of course, can disrupt any setup suppression you have to try to keep that melee under control. And, of course, the Banshees and Farseer themselves do some pretty nasty damage to all your Space Marine heavy infantry. So Dark Riku's in a bit of a bind here. He is Tier 3. Grunk's bringing a Falcon onto the field, but Dark Riku could bring either a Predator on the field, or if he gets a little bit more red, he can bring the good old Assault Terminators on the field that the Force Commander is so infamous for. So we can see the Banshee's cloaked right here. There must be a hollow field down right now. So a little trickiness from Grunk right there. And now the Banshees are moving in on these Assault Space Marines with the support of the Farseer. Altark's kind of just sitting over in the corner. She needs to jump in or do something. No reason for her not to be in that battle. Banshee's getting very low right here, though, and having to fall back. Luckily, those scouts didn't pop a shotgun blast before they got out of there. And the Falcon, in the meantime, taking out these sneaky scouts in the back, trying to do a little rear capping right there. So Riku getting forced back pretty hard right there. I really think he should get a Predator. It looks like at this point he's saving up for some Assault Terminators, but we'll see how that works out. I really think he should get a Predator to try to deal with that Falcon. Oh, and here comes a call-in right now. That's probably the Terminators right there. Oh, nice use of that grenade right there. Chipping off a little bit of that Assault Terminator HP right out of the gate. Oh no, they teleport in on that shuriken. It doesn't, oh, a knockdown. It doesn't look like it's going to get out of there at all. Oh, one more swing and that thing is obliterated. Meanwhile, the Falcon's doing a little bit of harassing from afar. Rangers trying to do some damage, get a shot or two off on those Terminators and start whittling them down. And the problem right now is these Terminators are out of position and you really don't want the enemy to have this free time to really whittle away at them. The VPs are pretty much even, so I feel like Dark Riku didn't need to push this VP that hard right now. Meanwhile, the Force Commander coming in from behind, trying to harass this Falcon. Doesn't have any weapons right now, but just the threat that Power Fist could come on at any time is enough to convince Grunk to not stick around with that Falcon. Battle Cry being activated, knocking these Banshees all over the place, but the Force Commander does have to get out of there. These Assault Marines probably going to have to jump in and protect him and knock these Banshees over. But, oh no, it looks like he does go down. Oh dear. I really think Dark Riku could have sort of knocked over those Banshees with an assault jump and then retreated. But perhaps he just wanted to stay on the field and make sure he had a little more field presence here. Just feels like he's pushing a little harder than he needs to right now. Those Assault Terminators running around, causing some damage up top in the meantime. But the Banshees, Farseer, and Altark are, again, just shredding through all this heavy infantry down here. In the meantime, though, the Assault Terminators found these Rangers out of position, and oh, there they go. That's it for the Rangers. Nice play by Dark Riku. Grunk was distracted microing down bottom and left those Rangers up there a second too late. In the meantime, we can see Grunk's gone tier 3 and purchased the shield for this Falcon. That infamous shield which regens so quickly and makes the Falcon nigh on impossible to take out if it's microed correctly. So Scout's trying to harass this Farseer and get her off the point, waiting for those Assault Terminators to get in. There goes the shotgun blast, and now those Assaults are in position to try to take a few swings at her. So Dark Riku holding out here, can bring a Falcon onto the field without too much more time, but Grunk has purchased a Seer Council, and that's just one more melee squad that you don't want to see on the field against all this. These Assault Terminators are pretty much just going to get swarmed at this point. I stand by my position that I feel Dark Riku should have gotten a vehicle. Grunk really doesn't have anything to deal with that. All he can do, the best option he has, is to chase around with Banshees and Farseer. No Warp Spiders or anything like that on the field. And forcing Grunk to get those Warp Spiders probably would have been a good idea. So here comes the Predator. Riku in a bit of a bind with his Force Commander, still out of commission. But has a few VPs lead still, though there is a triple cap in Grunk's favor. So that lead won't last for very long. Meanwhile, here comes a Melt-A-Bomb going down on that Falcon. And the Altar grabbing herself the fusion gun right now, which does melt damage, and of course with her crazy speed, makes it very dangerous for any vehicles that come onto the field, as she can just chase them all over the map. Scouts look like they're staying in there a bit too long. They need to retreat right now or they're going to go down. Looks like they just barely get out of there. Oh, and here comes the Predator. Ready to start pouring some fire into these battles here. and trying to whittle away at that Seer Council now while it's out there by itself. Unfortunately for Riku, though, he's kind of just got to hang out here in base for a little while and heal up. Doesn't really have the resource to reinforce all of his squads right now.
We trust in your guidance.
The enemy has 200 points remaining.
So our Guardian's finally taken out this power node right here. And the map's pretty much just all in Grunk's favor. Riku's going to have to play this very carefully at this point to try to bring this back. Guardian's going for that decap. Oh, there goes a Guardian right there. Actually, it looks like his physics are a bit messed up. He's flying all over the place. Possibly some Eldar tech going wrong there. Took a shell to the grav pack.
No place is barred to us. The foe seeks to deprive us of a vital resource point.
And Riku kind of securing. This tank's gonna have to be very careful way up here. If I were Riku, I'd kind of sort of just pull that back and keep it near the base where he can support it. But unfortunately, in the meantime, Grunk has already gone ahead and sort of secured this side of the map. Autark with the fusion gun. Banshee's coming in. Seer Council and Falcon. Oh, and the Warspires come in. Drop a haywire grenade right on that Predator. And that's pretty much going to be it for that tank. That might also be it for Dark Riku. 2-0 cap still going down for Grunk. The Assault Terminators are moving in on this Falcon. Does have a Melt-A-Bomb on it. The shield is down. They're swinging away with those power hammers. But they're taking a lot of fire from that Seer Council and the Autark. And it looks like one of those Assault Terminators go down, and that's the game. It looks like Riku went ahead and conceded right there. Lost his tactical Marines there at the end as well, right here with these Banshees. And wow, Force Commander went down. A lot happened right there at the end. But that's exactly what happens here late game versus Eldar. This Farseer, when you have all those nasty melee squads on the field and all those Eldar buffs and speed, really just causing all kinds of trouble for Dark Riku here at the end. So very cool game. Lots of fun to see that. Saw that Eldar one of everything build in Tier 1 and Farseer pulling ahead in Tier 2 to lock down that match. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed it. This was Red-Rupee. I will catch you guys next time.